Thanks so much for tuning in to Keep Your Head Up Hockey, your Saturday pregame edition for Core 4. Huge shout out to Core 4. Thanks so much for supporting us and tuning in every Saturday for your pregame. I'm your host, Jamie Young, and we've got Brendan with us as well, Mr. Brendan Finch in the house. And we're going to get you ready for maybe one of the biggest rivalries in hockey. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Habs, they faced off at the beginning of the year, this year. Well, I guess it would have been last year, but this season in October. And it ended up in a shootout, and Toronto ended up winning the game. It was a close one. It was a good one,
Yeah.
and it's going to be a good one tonight. Just to get it up, set up real quick here, we've got the Habs with 58 points this year, kind of in a rebuild and not having a fantastic year this year, but they're 24, 29, and 10. Leafs, mediocre year as well, I think. We're third place in the division, but with 80 points, with 20 games left, 36, 19, and 8. But yeah, it's going to be a good game tonight. Looking forward to it. Dylan, Brennan, what do you think about the Habs this year and how they're playing?
I think they're playing to expectation. It wasn't expected for them to have a stellar season from go. But I think that the glaringly obvious thing in this matchup is I think that you're right. The Leafs they've underperformed by their standards as well. Obviously every year you're gonna win the cup, right? Well, I mean, better pick it up a notch. Let's just say that. And I'll tell you what, if they think they're going to go in and have an easy time against the Habs are a lackluster team, but. I don't know. I don't know about the Leafs in that Bell Center, buddy. I don't know. They haven't won there in almost 3 years.
Yeah, no, it's a tough building to get wins in. It's even though that
Yeah,
they've
even
only
for the
got
Habs.
yeah, even though it really is this year. It's only 24 wins, right? So it's going to be a tough game for the Leafs. Always is in that building. The fans come out for this one.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's mutual hate on both sides. The Habs hate the Leafs hate the Habs. It's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be as rough and tumble as the last game for the Leafs when they played Boston. Man, that was a good game. That was
Yeah.
even though the Leafs lost 4-1, I thought that the Leafs showed a lot of character and actually stepped it up. And at least what we're defending each other, and brought some toughness to that game that I think is needed if we're going to be playing uh, in Boston for 4 games in the playoffs. We're going to have to bring some toughness, and I thought that we did. Even though with the double cross check to start the game for McCabe, I thought was uncalled for. I still respect it. I really do. Like it's Marchand. Everybody hates Marchand, and we'll show this right now. We'll get a laugh for the group here. We just gotta love this here. $5,000, well worth it, I think, for McCabe because too funny when the rest of the league here is they only cost $5,000 to cross check Marchand in the face. There's gonna be a lineup, I think, of people that are gonna try and take his head off. Yeah, $5,000 well worth it. What do you think about that, Brennan? What do you think about that, brother?
I think it's fucking hysterical. Marchand's obviously he's the guy that everybody hates, but you take him on your team, especially come postseason. But yeah, obviously there's pure hatred between Marchand and the Leafs, and I think that cross check was probably worthy of suspension, but the $5,000 fine and this meme in particular, fucking hysterical.
It's fucking priceless. Absolutely fucking priceless. And Brennan, thanks for finding that and sharing it because this is just great. And I really think that next year, like if it was only $5,000 fine, like I think people are going to take some runs at him. I couldn't believe though too that Marchand Lee just never fights ever. He's a pussy. He does not fight. And a small guy like Max Domi goes after him and he basically turtles and just lays on the ice. Like he's a pussy. Like just know that you're a piece of shit, Marchand. Like straight up, you're an absolute piece of shit, and everybody wants to take your head off because you've done some dirty shit in the past, and especially to the Leafs as well. Licking people's faces, slew flooding, slashing, hits from behind. He's the most fined player in NHL history by a lot. And you know what? Like, I hope that he gets his before he retires. that big old nose on him needs to be broken. Like it straight up needs to be broken, that guy. But anyway, I wanted to comment on that. I think well done. Kudos to McCabe for doing what so many people in the league have wanted to do for quite some time, and $5,000 well worth it. Brendan,
Question.
we'll talk about that. Well, go ahead, Brendan.
Given all of his indiscretions, we'll call him, in the past, especially against the Leafs, if he improved your chances as a Leafs fan to win a Stanley Cup finally, well, make it to the Stanley Cup finals. If he improved your chances greatly, take him.
No, I hate the guy
Lies.
so much. That's no. That's one guy I don't want on this team. And to be honest, I would take a lot of people. I'd even take Sam Bennett. I hate that guy. I just think that Marchand, he'd never play here anyway. Like it's an argument that you could throw $1 gazillion at this guy. He's not going to come play for Toronto. He's going to retire in Boston.
Yeah.
But
But
I don't
in
like the
that
guy.
scenario, that unlikely scenario, you say, man, we're right on the verge this year. And like every year, this is our year. And he is actually the one to push you over the top. You're not taking him? Not even for a
No.
rental for 1 year?
He can score goals. Yeah, he brings a lot to a team for sure, but he's a dirty, dirty, dirty bastard. He
He'd be
straight
one of
up
your
is,
top
and I
3
don't want
players.
that. We need we need roughness, we need toughness. We don't need dirtiness. We don't need that, I don't think. And that's not what the Leafs are looking for, and that's not the image that we've ever really had. So I say no, man. I really don't. I don't want him, and I think that all of Toronto fans would say the same. But Core Four, the stream will be up after you watch this show. Please comment on that topic.
I'd
Would
like to
you
hear.
take Marchand if it got us to the promised land and push us over the hump to get us that Stanley Cup? Is it worth it really to bring on Marchand and have him lick people and slash people and cross
I
check
think you're
people
going to
from
find
behind?
yourself in the minority of that group, man.
Well, yeah, let's hear what the Core
Yeah.
Four has to say. I want to hear from you guys, so
Yeah.
leave a comment, please, and thank you. So we'll go to starting goaltenders like we normally do for these shows. We've got Sam I can't even pronounce it. Montebo versus
Montembeau.
Ilya Samsonov. Montebo had a decent year so far. He gets a
Not
lot of
bad.
shots on net, right? So save percentage 905, goals against average 314, 13 wins, 11 losses. 29 starts. And then Ilya Samsonov, same goals against average 314, under the 905 save percentage for Sam, 885. And then he's got 16 wins and 5 losses. I think it's a pretty even goalie matchup
Yeah.
tonight. What do you
Yeah.
think about that, Brennan?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think that Sam Montembeau is
Yeah.
he's a promising goaltender, but I'll give you the line. I'll give you the Don Cherry Rock'em Sock'em Alan Bester line from back in the day. The guy has seen more rubber than a dead skunk on the Trans Canada Highway. You know what I mean? He gets just peppered every night. Hence the reason why they're minus 500 or whatever in goals. But I mean, he sees a lot of rubber. Samsonov, he's picked it up a little bit. He's one of those guys, you either love him or hate him.
Yeah.
I mean, you're proof of that. You've been calling for his head all season. Then he had a good game, and you're like, Samsonov.
Samson Osei, I'm not changing it. I think that he's still not our guy, but we've got to roll with him and Wall. And Wall didn't really perform well against
No.
Boston the last couple of games. I think he's still getting into the swing of things. He's been off half the season. It's
Yeah.
expected.
How about Jake Allen
yeah.
being traded?
Wow, what a big trade that was for
I was surprised. Right?
yeah, like, I was kind of surprised with that one too.
Yeah.
With
Jersey.
Jersey picking him up, and I think this is a good pickup for Jersey. Like they only gave away a third round pick like for 2025, so like no big deal. And I think that they're getting a really good goaltender in Jake Allen. And New
Yeah.
Jersey,
Oh
they
yeah,
need
man.
that. They
Yeah,
need that.
yeah. And Jersey's decent up front, but yeah, once he gets in the mix, I think that's a big move for Jersey. Kind of a shit move for Montreal.
Yeah, I just think that they've
It's a
had a
nothing
down
move. I
phase.
mean, it's a nothing season at this point. Bigger plans maybe
Yeah,
in the off season, I guess. Obvious rebuild. So
And I'm not too sure who the Habs have for young talent that's coming up. Maybe some young goaltenders that they might be wanting to squeeze into things in this rebuild. And
Well,
I think they've got a
Montembeau's
couple more years.
he's got a future with the club.
Oh yeah,
Montembeau's
no,
got a
definitely
future.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's no Carey Price, but he's a good goaltender.
Well, nobody is.
And we'll
Yeah.
see. Oh yeah, nobody's going to be for sure, but yeah, we'll see what happens with the goaltending situation for the Habs. We'll keep the show going here. We'll just have a kind of a round table discussion here on keys to success about why Montreal may win this game and why the Leafs should win the game. I think the big key to success is to get Matthews the puck tonight. He's kind of been shut down by Boston the last couple games. They did a really good job at that. If Montreal can shut down Matthews, it kind of limits, the Leafs, forte, right? And
Yeah.
Marner's been really turning it on the last couple games. Like even though he does make those silly passes every now and then, he is playing well. And with Nyes out now too, like we got to have a couple guys step up. But yeah, I really think the keys to success is if Matthews can get a goal and get this team, rocking and rolling in the first period and have a good start to the game, then I think that the Leafs may be unstoppable in this one if they really get going in the first period. They're a team that likes to wait around until the second or the third period to kind of get started, and I think that we've got to change that, especially in the last 20 games going into the playoffs. We've got to play three periods, and I think this will be a good test for the Leafs to really show up from the get-go and play a full 60 minutes and maybe even the 65 minutes, even if it goes to overtime, but play a solid game. What do you think are the keys to success for Montreal tonight to win the game against the Leafs, Brennan?
I think obviously they're going to have to get some bounces, take advantage of odd man situations, odd man rushes. They've got the talent up front. Let me just tell you, over the last 5 games at the Bell Center that Montreal and Toronto have played, Montreal's won all 5.
Yeah.
And the key to success over those games were their studs. Their point leaders in those were Suzuki with 7 points in that stretch over 5 games. I think Caulfield had something like 5. No, Caulfield had 6 points in that stretch, and Josh Anderson had 5. So I mean, when you think of it in terms of that, like these guys are there to play, and the young studs in Montreal do show up to play. I mean, I don't want to talk about the pandemic playoffs, but like those boys can play, man. And
Absolutely.
and let's face it, where do the Leafs struggle? On the blue line. They got a couple of good on man rushes, or even a power play or a 5-on-3 or some shit like that is going to turn a game, especially if it's not a high scoring game and the goalies actually show up to play. You know what I'm saying? It could be a lot tighter than you think. I like the overtime prediction, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so do I. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a tight game, and I think it'll go all the way. But the Leafs did pick up a couple of key defensemen,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Joel Edmondson, like
Big one.
he's a good pickup
Yeah.
from Washington. Like I really like his pickup. He's a young guy. He's only 30 years old. He's a Canadian, Manitoba-born guy. He'll be playing his first game tonight.
Yeah.
And I really want to see him on our blue line. He's a stay-at-home guy, pass first kind of guy, loves to rough it up. And I think he's a
That's what they
really good
need.
ad. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. A stay-at-home guy that just gets the puck out and protects his side of the ice, protects the front of the net, and he's that type of guy. And I think that Trevlin, he did a good job with going out and getting somebody in the market that's not going to cost us an arm and a leg for the Leafs. And that's the problem, is that we have no money to spend, right? So
Well, I'm
I
kind of
think that
surprised that
was a
they
really
didn't
good
go
trade.
out and get another forward.
Yeah, well, they did. They got Connor Dewar, a center. They kind
Okay.
of needed that. He
I'm
was like
surprised that they
last
didn't
minute.
go out and get the best forward available like they typically try to do.
Yeah.
We're
But yeah, no,
struggling
no,
on the
they did
blue
get
line. Let's get another score.
gosh, I know, right? But yeah, no, they did get another guy too, just to mention here as well. Like it was a busy day on
Yeah, yeah,
Friday for trades across the league.
yeah,
They did get Cade Weber too,
yep.
from the Hurricanes. Not a massive fan of him. He's a little bit smaller of a guy, 5'10", 181. He's not a
Easy.
huge guy, but he's a good player. He's an added, and we needed another defenseman as well, and we got 2 of them. So
Yeah.
I hope that both those boys get a chance tonight to play their first game for the Leafs to show what they do bring to this team, and hope to really see them make an impact. But I really like Joel Edmondson. I think that he's the best that we picked
Big
up, and
pickup. Yeah.
Lemushkin too. Obviously, last week picking up him from
Mhm.
the Ducks and bringing him back. He's not a bad ad either, and he did not play bad yet. For the Leafs in Boston, he played great. I thought, and
I like the
we'll
way you
see.
say
But
yet.
oh yeah, exactly. But Joel Edmondson, a huge ad, and I really like that kid, and I think he's a good ad. And bring another Canadian defenseman, a Canadian-born defenseman that likes to throw the weight around, and a big boy. That's a good ad for sure. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Wanted to. We're not going to make this a super long show because I know it's just you and I. But we'll talk about Nylander a little bit. I thought that since Nylander, yes, he is leading the Leafs in scoring, but he had a phenomenal start to the year. And I gotta say, since he has got signed and he put the pen to the paper and got paid, this guy is just not showing up and not playing to his full potential. Giving the puck away numerous fucking times. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. One play he just like dipsy doodled in his own zone around the blue line or in the offensive zone in the blue line, blatantly gave the puck away, and Boston goes down on a breakaway and scores. Like that was ridiculous. And he can't do that shit running into the playoffs. Like it's just unacceptable.
Are you
What do you think about
surprised?
Nylander's play recently, man?
Are you surprised?
I'm not at all. He
He got
got
his
paid.
bag. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's made it clear in the past with his statements and shit.
Yeah.
That's what his priority is, and that's what his motivation is the money. He's not there.
Yeah.
He's not there to win a cup for Toronto. He doesn't give a shit, dude. Come on.
No, he does not care. He does
I'm
not
gonna
care at
ride the
all.
subway. It'll make me good with the fans, and then once they pay me, if they don't pay me, I'm out. Doesn't bother me. That's his whole mentality, man. He got paid. Now, like what does he have to prove? He's on a good team.
Mhm.
They'll make the playoffs. He's on a good team.
Yeah.
Maybe he just kind of fits in. Who knows? Maybe he does shine like he did in the playoffs last year. But I mean, if his comments and history kind of prove true, I don't know, man. I don't have all that much confidence in the guy anymore. Should have waited to pay him
Mhm.
after the season.
Well, yeah, I'm finding a lot where, like, he wants to do more in the defensive zone. Like, great, finally showing up in the defensive zone. But when there's a 2-on-1 possible run at like down the ice for a scoring chance, he just goes off to the bench.
Yeah,
Like he's lazy, and it's clear. And I just what are your thoughts, Core Four? I want to hear you in the comments too about Nylander. Am I wrong? But I'd say the last 10 games or so, this guy isn't really showing up and playing to his full potential. I am not a big Nylander fan. I've never been a big Nylander fan. I'm a Matthews Marner type of guy. Nylander, not a big fan. I think Jay would maybe argue a little bit if he
you
was
would.
here. But yeah, I don't like Nylander. Swedish born, getting paid. I just I'm not a fan. He might prove me wrong in the playoffs. Like, let's
He
see
might.
what he does in the playoffs.
He
He
might.
might, but he's the type of guy that won't even go into a corner if he's going to get hit to get the puck. So I just we need more toughness, and I think that maybe we should have shipped him before the trade deadline. I wouldn't have been surprised if
Could you
Trevor really wanted
imagine the
to.
defenseman they could have attracted with him? Ooh.
Oh man, like would have got some solid defense, but it's unfortunate. Like Trevlin just wants to keep his guys, and he really thinks that we've got the team that'll get us there. But I just don't think so. I don't see it
I don't know.
anymore. I thought at the beginning of the year, yeah, we might have the group, but nothing's changed. We're just a high scoring team that doesn't get it done defensively and not tough enough. And it was really clear in those two Boston games that we're like, if we go against Boston, which we should, with the way things are falling, we're going to get dominated. Like there's just no if or we've got to really bring it and get lucky and get Matthews open. But Nylander, I don't know, man. I wish we would have traded him and got some really key players, but who's going to take that salary? Like he got
Yeah.
signed for a big number. I think it was like 11 million, right? Like
Yeah.
that's a lot of money per year to sign, but it is going to be an absolute war in Boston when it
Well,
does come. Man, it's going to be crazy. What
I'll
do
give
you
it to the
think?
Leafs. I think that the Leafs are okay, to play gritty for a game or two here and there against Boston. But if it turns out to be a 6-7 game series,
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah, Boston's too gritty for that, and they've got just as much talent too, right? That's the tough part. You got guys like Pasternak who's filling the net. Like, it's tough, man.
Yeah,
It's a tough team to beat. I
yeah,
don't know. Yeah, it's a real tough team to beat, especially when you bring into consideration the grittiness. Say what you will about Marchand, but he's a fucking grinder, bud.
he's not somebody you want to play against, and he's
No.
hated because
Oh yeah, but
how
he's a
he plays.
grinder.
He's
He's
good.
hated for a reason. Yeah, man.
He's good. He's
Yeah.
good. That's why everybody hates him because he's a tough son of a bitch and he's
Yep.
dirty. He really is Canadian born, from the East Coast and just comes to play
Yeah.
that boy. And he
Every
loves
game.
Boston. Yeah,
Every
every
game
game.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know that he breaks a stick before every single game? Because this is a tradition that Marchand has. He breaks his stick before every game for the hockey gods. He breaks the $300 stick. Why
Must be
not just
nice. I
donate
can't
that
even
stick?
afford a fucking twig.
Yeah, me neither. I still have a wooden twig because it is so damn expensive. But it's yeah, that's just Marchand for you. But why not just donate the stick instead of breaking it and give it to a kid every night?
I'm
I think
quite
the hockey
frankly
gods would really
a little
approve
surprised
that.
that he has the strength to do it. Does he get someone to help him?
Yeah, everybody knows he can't fight because if he could fight, he would. If he thought he was a good fighter, he would fight. He
Yeah, yeah.
obviously can't fight. He's a pussy. He's a pussy. Absolute pussy. But you know what?
Not his role.
He's living rent free in my mind right now. He
I
pissed
know
me
he
off,
is. It's
like
hilarious.
with he's living rent free in my mind right now with him just turtling, in front of or
With
with
Domi.
Domi. Like I just couldn't believe like that'd be the perfect fight. They're about the same size,
Oh
like
no, Domi's short. Don't be fooled, man. Domi's thick.
wow,
He's got
yeah,
Barney Rubble syndrome.
I think it would be a fair fight though. I think it would have been,
I
and
don't. I think
yeah,
Domi would have
but
kicked his shit in.
well, yeah,
I
it's
think
it's
Marchand did
Ty's
the right
son.
thing. He did the right thing.
It's Ty's son, right? So
He
yeah,
did the right
he's
thing.
definitely all right. Well, I think it's gonna be a battle tonight too. Leafs versus Habs, gonna be a good one. And score predictions. I'm gonna predict 3-3 overtime shootout win for the Leafs, and we'll give Matthews the shootout goal. What's your prediction, Brennan?
I'm gonna go against you. I'm gonna go 6 games in a row for the Habs against the Leafs at the Bell Center. And I'm gonna call an overtime prediction too. I'm gonna go 3-2. I think it'll be a little tighter.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I'm
you
probably
heard it from
completely
us.
wrong.
You heard it from us. And in the comments, if you watch the show, right in the core four, comment your score predictions. Let's hear from you. But I have one favor to ask. We're getting over 100 views on our pregame shows. If you've reached it to here and you've liked what you've heard, I want you to smash that like button. I want you to share the show. I want you to tell a friend about the show. Let's grow this show. We have our normal shows once a week, typically Tuesdays, and you can and I'll put a link into the group chat there for our Facebook group because then you'll kind of keep informed with when our shows are going to be. But we have about an hour and a half show every week, and we swear and carry on and drink beers and have fun. So if you want to check that out, join the Facebook group so you're informed, or just at least you know click on the subscribe button on YouTube because that's where we share all of our shows. But a big thank you for tuning in today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking Leafs with you, getting you ready for arch rival, the Montreal Canadiens tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Puck drops at the Bell Center. Thanks for watching, and a big keep your head up from Keep Your Head Up Hockey. You take care.
Allons-y, habitant.
Go Leafs, go!
Real game is at